beneath the cypress tree. The wind carried the scent of magnolia through the fields, soft and warm. In the heart of the south, where the land once bore the weight of so much pain, a single cypress tree stood tall at the edge of an old plantation road. Its roots ran deep into the memory of the land, and its branches whispered stories to anyone who dared to listen. And tonight, the cypress whispered to you. Long before the highways and streetlights, before cities rose and electric wires crisscrossed the skies, there were dirt roads and wooden shacks, fields stretching far beyond the eye, and the heavy silence of toil hanging thick in the air. Here, a boy named Elijah was born, his cry piercing the early dawn like a trumpet against sorrow. He was born in 1859, born to a mother who sang freedom in hush-toned lullabies, and to a father whose hands were calloused from cotton, yet strong enough to lift Elijah toward the stars and say, "You were made for more." Elijah grew beneath the eye of the overseer and the hush of the whip. His world was one of whispered dreams, of stolen moments, of quiet resistance. His mother, Miriam, taught him how to read the stars, to follow the north when the night was clear. His father, Isaac, taught him how to listen, how to hear the cries beneath silence, how to read the wind for danger, and how to hide his hope where no man could steal it. At night, Elijah lay beside the hearth, listening to the elders tell stories, not just of Africa, though those tales were sacred, but of defiance, of escape, of spirits walking with them, protecting them. There were stories of Nat Turner and his fire, of a woman named Harriet who never lost a passenger, of a people so strong that even in chains they refused to break. And Elijah dreamed. He dreamed of walking free, of crossing the Mason-Dixon line, of owning land, of learning letters like the white children in town. He dreamed of preaching to crowds, of singing his own songs, not in the fields, but in a church that he built with his own two hands. But the world had its own pace. It moved slow, cruel, and heavy. When Elijah was 10, he saw his friend Daniel sold, dragged away while his mother screamed until her throat bled. At 12, he was beaten for standing too long in the shade while the overseer passed. At 13, he learned to cry silently, his tears mixing with the dust beneath him. Then one morning, the world began to shake. Word spread like wildfire across the South. Lincoln, war, emancipation, freedom. Freedom? Elijah didn't understand it at first. Neither did most. Some feared it, feared what came next. Where would they go? What would they eat? But Elijah, he believed. He believed in the whispers his mother used to speak by candlelight. He believed in the North Star and the sound of Harriet's footsteps through the woods. He believed because his father believed. Isaac looked his son in the eye, took his hand and said, "You will walk your own road now. Walk it upright." Freedom came like a storm, loud, unpredictable, dangerous, and not without cost. White men who once owned land and lives refused to let go. Some fled, some fought, some formed new ways to keep power. But the people, Elijah's people, they began to rise. They built churches first, holy places where they could gather, pray, speak freely, sing their own songs. Elijah's voice deepened with time, smooth and thunderous. By 20, he was preaching under an open sky, standing barefoot in the grass with fire in his soul. People came from miles to hear him, not just because of his words, but because of how he carried them, like gospel, like water in the desert. He preached freedom, yes, but more than that, he preached dignity. He reminded them that they were not born beneath, not made to bow, not destined for the shadows. We are more, he would say, more than the fields we once bent in, more than the laws they write to hold us. We are the dreams of our ancestors, and we will rise, and rise they did, even when the world pushed back. Elijah saw it all, Reconstruction and its promise, then its betrayal. He saw black men elected, only to be driven out by mobs and fire. He saw towns burned, like in Wilmington and Tulsa, where the sky itself turned black with hatred. He saw lynchings. He saw fear return, cloaked in new names: Jim Crow, segregation, poll taxes. But he never stopped preaching. He married a woman named Esther, whose laugh was like wind chimes and whose heart knew no limits. Together they raised 5 children, taught them to read by candlelight, taught them to speak truth even when trembling, taught them to look a man in the eye even if the world told them not to. And through the decades Elijah aged, but his fire did not dim. He watched as his eldest joined the Great Migration, moving north for a factory job in Detroit. He saw his daughter become a teacher in Alabama, risking her life to educate those the world deemed unworthy. He held his grandson, baby Jeremiah, and told him, "The road will not be easy, but you come from strong roots, you come from warriors." And when the civil rights movement began to stir, when buses were boycotted and lunch counters occupied, when young men marched across bridges and were met with batons, Elijah was too old to join. But he sat by his radio, hands trembling, tears falling, because he saw the fruit of seeds he helped plant. He died at 99, beneath the same cypress tree he once played beneath as a boy. His family buried him at its base, and every year they returned, gathering there in the summer sun, telling his story so it would never be forgotten. But this story does not end with Elijah, because from his line came Jeremiah, who marched with Dr. King and was jailed in Selma. From him came Grace, who studied law and defended the innocent. Then came Marcus, who filmed protests and broadcast truth to the world. And now there is you. Yes, you lying here in the quiet dark, listening to the wind move outside your window. You whose skin carries the memory of struggle, whose heartbeat echoes songs once sung in chains, whose spirit is both flame and feather. You are not just a child, you are a chapter in a book still being written. And the ancestors are watching. From Harriet's lantern to Elijah's sermons, from Miriam's lullabies to Esther's laugh, they are with you. When you walk into rooms that were not built for you, they walk beside you. When you speak truth in places where silence is expected, they speak through you. And when you close your eyes at night, they keep watch, murmuring their eternal promise. You are loved, you are worthy, you are ours. So sleep, dear soul. Sleep with the strength of those who stood when the world tried to break them. Sleep with the rhythm of a people who turned pain into poetry. Sleep knowing that no matter what tomorrow brings, you are part of something greater, deeper than time, stronger than hate, more beautiful than any lie could ever erase. The road ahead is long. It will not be easy. But remember, you come from kings, you come from fire, you come from love, and like the cypress tree, you will stand tall and you will endure. Good night.